Thank you for your testimony. Any questions for individual? There being none, thank you very much for your time.
Hi, my name is Louis, and I run a repair shop in New York City. Before I get started, I think it's important to address a point that Mrs. Fisher just brought up, which is that there are many people that are seeking to profit from this legislation. And I agree that it's an important point. I think it's important to look at who paid to be here today versus who is being paid to be here today when looking at who is opposing the legislation and who is in favor of that legislation. That being said, let's just go back to a general idea that I have, which is that law is downstream from culture. Culture happens first. Now, about 3.5 years ago, I made an educational video showing you what to do if you have water spilled into a MacBook and it gets in the trackpad area. I showed how to replace a fuse that blew in this customer's case so that their keyboard and trackpad didn't work. And 3 months later, I heard from a law firm of Kilpatrick & Townsend asking on behalf of Apple if I would take this video down. Why do I bring this up? I bring this up because the appliance lobbyist over there said that this is a solution in search of a problem. However, I don't often see people paying $1,200 an hour to create when there's no problem. There is a problem, which is that when I show you where a fuse is in a product, I can get in trouble for that. There were also individuals that brought up that authorized repair is very good and it does the job very well. But then I'd also bring up the question as to a CBC News piece that came out last year where there was a bent pin in a cable of a laptop and they wanted $2,000 to fix this. I fixed it on camera in 30 seconds by bending back the cable. When it comes to the video games console manufacturers, if authorized repair is so good there, why is it that if the video plug breaks on your PlayStation that the authorized repair time is 3 to 6 weeks to fix that when I can teach a 16-year-old how to do that job inside of 5 to 15 minutes? The issue here is that the culture has changed, but the law has stayed the same. The laws that are being used to say that I shouldn't have access to a document that says where the fuse is, or if I show this, where this keyboard fuse is, that I could be in trouble and have my business in jeopardy, is a law that was created 50, 70, 90 years ago when the culture was different. Back then, if you open your refrigerator, you open your television, there's a schematic there that tells you how to do all of this. I, as a normal person, not even a repair shop owner, could call up the company and say, can I get this thing for my vacuum and my radio? Or you could just go to Radio Shack and get it. Now you have to see how it is today, where if you have a MacBook Air and the SMC chip that reads your battery and can tell what your battery percentage is dies, I can't replace that chip easily because it has firmware on it. If I try to read that firmware, the chip will stop working. It's very similar to this TV show called 24 where Jack Bauer would interrogate terrorists and if he's like, where's the bomb? The terrorist would take a cyanide pill and go, you're never going to find out. The chip does that. It erases itself. This is something that was unheard of 50 or 70 years ago, but the laws have not evolved. I think that the law needs to evolve to keep up with the technology, and the last excuse that I heard was, this has been denied in every state, why Boston? Why Massachusetts? Wouldn't that have been a great attitude to have 250 years ago? That's it.
Thank you for your testimony. Any questions from the members? Senator Feeney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your testimony. Although I think Chloe would have been able to help Jack Bauer figure anything out. You mentioned, you said if you show, I believe you used the example of a fuse. If you show a consumer where that fuse is, or if you figure that out and repair that, that you could potentially be in trouble or your business could be in trouble. Are there stories of independent repair shops that are contacted by manufacturers and that do get sued or in trouble? Could you just maybe elaborate on that, or what your fear is that could happen to you?
My fear in terms of it happening to me is that I replied saying, if you want this video down, don't call me from your law firm, file a public DMCA claim where you have to say what the problem is. That creates the PR nightmare of them having to say, we don't want our customers to know where a fuse is. They never did because of public backlash. But realistically speaking, at any given time, they could go through with it and they would probably win the case. I've heard of other companies being contacted similarly. There are people here who post on iFixit Answers. iFixit is a business that has been contacted several times over things on their website, although I don't have exact details to it, and they're not here to speak on it. But it's something that we all live in fear of.
So you post a video, and then you get contacted by an attorney representing a manufacturer. And what does that attorney tell you? Are you liable? Are they going to sue you? They tell you to just
trade
demand
secret,
to take
copyright,
it down?
this, that, and the other. And the thing that's interesting to me is the document that showed on screen. It's essentially something that's already sold to you. So when you buy the machine, you can tell where that is just by measuring. It's simply sold to me in a different form if it's sold via schematic versus via the actual product. It would be like if I sold you a book in Latin and then somebody else gave it to you in English. You already have the book in front of you. It's just confusing. You could easily, you could difficultly, more to say, translate it to English if you'd like to, using an online translator. It's just a pain in the ass.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.